All right, we're living in a time where everyone is clamoring for national unity. And of course, personally, I feel at this point in time, we are in a healing process where everyone needs to come together and put our hands together to push this nation forward. Entertainment, we can't override its impact in nation building. And that's why this morning we'll be looking at entertainment and national development. And we'll be joined by two guests who will be joining us to explore the front line of the discussion. From my immediate left is Joy Osawaro. She's a member of the Creative Designers Guild of Nigeria, CDG, and she's the immediate past chairman of the Lagos State chapter and a presidential hopeful of the Guild. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And from my extreme left is Dr. Henry Emeka Obedi. He's a global analyst, and of course, he's a filmmaker and a film director and the director of an institute based in Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
So let's just kick off with you, Dr. Harry. The 25th February general election that took place this year created a lot of division in the country. The South, West having a way of turning their back against the North seeing the southeastern part as not part of them. A lot of backlash. How are we going to use entertainment as a major tool to bridge this gap?
Yeah, thank you so much, DPO. Basically, entertainment is one of the biggest unifying factors, your factor in any system operational. And you cannot understand it clearly unless you understand the meaning of entertainment. But then, on a practical note, before we go into that meaning, we must look first into the meaning of, look at just a few weeks ago, we had someone go for the Guinness Book of World Record for cooking, Hilda Bassi. And now, in that crowd that you saw that stood with her for that number of days, I do not think you could see any ethnic diversity, any ethnic division. It was everybody coming together as one. The Yorubas were there, the Igbos were there, the Benins, the Edos were there, the Hausas were there. It was a unifying factor. And secondly, when we go into the world of sports, we do not have any form of class or ethnic distinction. And when we go into the movies and all of that, while we're on set like we are right now in Benin, we have the Hausas there, we have the Igbos, we have all ethnic groups, the Yorubas. And so practically in Nigeria, entertainment has been and will always be one of the tools to unify and mend the walls that have been broken. These divisions that we are talking about could have affected businesses and all of that, and you know that there are no practical evidence. We know that these things are happening, these segmentation, separations are happening, but there are no practical evidence. They are all still a speculation, level for now. So for me, I would not really say that Nigeria is divided. It's only natural that when you have a change of system that does not appeal to the emotional consciousness of certain people, there will be revolt, there will be resolve. But look, at a particular point, after a while, things will calm down and Nigeria will stand strong again.
All right, talking about Nigeria standing strong again, do you think there is need for a quick review of the state itself called Nigeria? Joy Osawaro.
Well, when you talk about the nation, what I can see or what I can say is that, just like what the doctor said, there is no evidence to prove that the nation is being divided. All we know is speculation. And the review I have been able to assess on my part is that things are still the way they are.
Okay. Well, you mean things are still the way they are? How?
Irrespective of what happened during the elections, and that was the season of election. And when election has come and gone, and we are all come to reality, whether we like it or not, it's just right before us. And there is nothing we can do about it for now. All we need to do is to sit down and watch how the whole drama is unfolding. And for me, Nigeria, or as a nation, we just have to work together, see how we can build the nation together, and make sure that we are one. Because when we were growing up, there is no need for any, those days, like you told me last time, you said, I was born and raised in the North.
Of course.
And the Northerners took you in as one of them. I was born and raised in the Southwest, which is in Badon. And they took me in, took my family in, and we all blended together. But for us to get to this point to say, you are Edo, you are this thing, I believe it's all about politics. Because where you see, whenever you hear, Igbos, Edo, Yoruba, this one is Igbo, it's politics. Everybody's just trying to play politics with tribes, with religion and all that. And that should not be a thing that we should be talking about as a nation. Okay,
so quickly, Dr. Herring, if politicians are part of the problem, though it's like you guys are trying to shy away from the reality on ground, if politicians are using politics to divide the nation, what is the way out?
I would not say if, and then number one, I would want to say we're not shying away from the reality on ground. We are actually approaching the situation of Nigeria from the realistic point of view. Yes, there are tumults, but you see, these are the things that I've kept advocating for. What we put out there has a way of influencing the mentality of people. Our perceptions as brand builders, for instance, you as an interviewer, as an AOP and all of that, what you say actually determines the image and the impression people have about our country, Nigeria. And sometimes being optimistic might look like shying away from reality. But you see, nobody has ever created any significant change from history, memorial, without first being optimistic, without looking at things from the positive perception. Yes, it was true that I may have had my own personal sentiment before this present administration, but now here we are. What is the next thing we should do? Should we keep crying over spilt milk, or should we find a way of moving on and looking at the positivities? You know, now let's look at it in practical terms. Look at Nigeria as a whole. Look at the few policies that have just been laid on the ground and how it is actually going to result in the next couple of years. You would see that there is already an existing positive direction existing already. And that's the reality that is on
present
ground.
Administration.
With the present administration. So if this is kept consistently for a little while or for a while longer, if this is not just a mirage that is painted on our face and when we get closer, we realize that it's not real. If this continues, if these policies continue, I tell you that Nigeria will begin to experience the change that we need. So I am not part of those people who will sit back and begin to criticize what used to be without settling down to address what is currently. Holistically. So looking at a unifying factor, I still will go back to entertainment because that's my area, my core, where I have my core values. We look at the meaning of that word entertainment. It's gotten from 3 Greek words: entra, tain, and ment. Entra, tain, and ment. Now, enter means to enter, just like that's where the English word, that's the etymology of the word enter, came from the word entra. So enter means enter, that's to enter. Tain is actually, it's actually to take possession. It's a Greek word that means to take possession, to take to take control of a particular thing. Ment is actually the word for the mind. The English word ment is actually the Greek word mind. Now, it means that entertainment is simply entering the mind and taking possession of it. So, you can actually change a long existing social problem by changing the perception of people. You see, many times we put up policies that do not directly relate with the emotional consciousness of the people who are supposed to follow that perception or follow those policies. So you see people rebel. You see Nigerians, okay, this is the right thing to do, but we are not doing it. That is because we emphasize on policies, not emphasizing on the fact that for you to change a thing, you must change the social perception about that particular thing. And the only tool, practically, psychologically, that can be used to change a social consciousness or a social perception and create that paradigm shift is entertainment.
Okay.
Because with entertainment, you enter the mind, you possess the mind of the things you need and the things, the perceptions you want. So with that, if the government and the people generally can actually look into this entertainment the way it is, they can actually use it as a tool the way it's being used in India. In India today, the culture of India will never die. Nigerians are beginning to dress like Indians. Some of our movies I watch begin to reflect the Indian culture and tradition. But look at it, just opposite with Nigeria. Our system, our cultures are dying because we have ignored the entertainment industry. In India, Bollywood is #1 all over the world. Highest producers of films in terms of numbers of films produced. Nollywood is #2. Hollywood, which is America, is #3. So in the content creation, we are actually higher than Hollywood.
Okay.
But then in social influence using movies, we are nowhere to be found.
Okay, let's quickly come to Joe Sawaru. Back then when we were growing up, as a Christian child, we have access to the mosques. We attend functions organized by Muslims. No disparity, no segregation. But however, some years down the line, it seems there is so much difference. As someone who is in the creative industry, what are you doing to bridge that gap?
You know, he said a lot of things now.
So what do you have to say? What says you?
Well, let me tell you something. Movie industry or entertainment industry, all we are here for, like he said, is to enter the minds of the people. There is this word that say that what you see and what you hear inform what you do. When things like these comes up, what we need the government to do is to come in collaboration with the entertainment industry.
Okay.
To enable us to preach the gospel through the entertainment. You see, Bollywood today, they talk about their tradition. They talk about about the Christians, Buddhist side of it. They talk about the Muslim side of it. I watched a Nollywood movie, series called Nika something. From the beginning to the end, they taught all the children how to dress as Muslims and how to pray, how to do a lot of things, how not to break out of the culture, the religion.
Their culture and tradition.
So, the same thing Nigerians, I think we should embrace this entertainment industry seriously. Because I remember years back, there was something, a particular government or so, or state that we needed to just, during the first subsidy issue that happened. If you remember, it was the entertainment industry that they used.
Okay. All right, I think we'll be drawing the curtain here as Dominic is standing by to take us through other segment in Abuja. Thank you so much, Dr. Harry, for coming. And of course, Joe Sawaro for taking time to join us on the show. Dominic, you're standing by.